Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at our top headlines today, beginning in northeast Nebraska with an update to a story about a fire from yesterday. One person is in jail accused of starting it. Norfolk police tell us 30-year-old Austin Ladd was arrested Monday. Police say Ladd is accused of starting the fire that burned a home at the intersection of 12th and Phillip Avenue in Norfolk. Police say interviews with those associated with the residents of the home and surveillance video led to Ladd being named as a suspect. Ladd was already set to be arraigned in Madison County Court Tuesday on a separate criminal mischief charge from a vandalism incident in Norfolk last week. A court ruled Monday that the teen accused of derailing a train in Bennett should be tried as an adult. Juvenile court judge Roger Heidemann approved the state's motion to charge 17-year-old Zachary Hertzler in county court. Hertzler charged with 2 counts of criminal mischief. He's accused of tampering with a switch at a railroad crossing near Bennett back in April, then filming the ensuing derailment and uploading the video to YouTube, where hundreds of thousands watched his video. He also shared the video with multiple news outlets. Authorities estimate about $350,000 worth of damage was done. Day 16 was a quick one for state senators in special session at the unicameral. On Monday, they returned for roll call and then adjourned for the day. They'll be back on Tuesday, debating LB 34, which passed its second round Friday on a 39-8 vote after few updates to the bill. If senators pass the bill this time around, it heads to Governor Jim Pillen's desk. But last week, Pillen vowed to veto any version of the tax reform bill that was, in his words, watering down of the caps originally presented in the original bill. Now, the current version of LB 34 streamlines the tax credit that Nebraskans already get. It also limits how much cities, counties, and villages can increase property taxes by tying it to inflation. The bill does let those entities exceed the cap in response to an emergency or for public safety services, public defenders, and county attorneys. Senators also approved an amendment on Friday that allows special elections in odd-numbered years to override property tax collection caps for county and municipal governments. Pillen called senators back this summer after the property tax relief package failed in the legislature during its spring session. Well, a community partnership program between the Nebraska military and the city of Beatrice will be observed with several events later this month. Doug Kennedy has more.
A community partnership program between the Nebraska military and the city of Beatrice will be observed with several events August 29th. Nebraska Adjutant General Brigadier General Craig Strong heads the Air National Guard, Army National Guard, and Nebraska Emergency Management Agency. In addition to overseas deployments, Strong says the National Guard is based in communities.
We're unique in Nebraska because we have just not only our National Guard in our military department, we also have our Emergency Management Agency. And obviously, the domestic response requirements of the National Guard and how our Emergency Management Agency interacts with our counties and our local governments and the emergency managers, local emergency managers, local fire chiefs, local chiefs of police. That's just another piece, not just the National Guard and the military side, but the emergency management side.
The partnership initiative kicked off in recent months with Wahoo being the first community, Beatrice will be the second, and Grand Island the third. Taking care of soldiers, their families, and employers, Strong says, are key issues for the Guard.
Over 80-85% of our force are citizen soldiers. They have a full-time career, full-time job. The employers are integral to ensuring the readiness of our soldiers and our airmen that are allowing them to train, to deploy when needed on behalf of the country or the state. So the employers, this is part of that program, our employer supports of the Guard and Reserve.
A critical domestic role for the National Guard and Air National Guard is a response to emergencies at home, like this year's devastating tornadoes in the Omaha area and wildfires in western and southwest Nebraska before that.
If you reach a point where a National Guard asset is needed, we are there for that opportunity as well, or to take on those challenging areas where it just exceeds the counties and even just the various county supporting capabilities. Examples of that, obviously we have that could get called upon more frequently, I would say, would be our aerial suppression capabilities with our helicopters. We have Blackhawks, we have Lakota helicopters, we have Chinook helicopters. That's a capability you just don't generally see in the civilian sector. So that rotary wing capability is something not just for fire suppression, but for search and rescue as needed in flooding situations, as well as surveillance, being able to identify hot spots for fires.
The military provides information to local entities on available assets during emergencies. Incident command remains local, but the Guard can provide various kinds of support.
The security or support that we can provide is what was called upon in the Omaha and the Elkhorn areas after the tornadoes. The debris removal is an asset that we could bring to bear, but the counties were generally able to deal with that through the utilities and their public works were able to clear debris. But what they really were spread thin on is enough police officers and law enforcement to secure really large neighborhood areas.
August 29th, the Nebraska Army National Guard in the city of Beatrice will host several events, including a wreath-laying ceremony at 8 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial Park, a Veterans Open House at the Veterans Club on Dorsey Street, a signing ceremony at the Gage County Museum, and a question-and-answer session at the Guard and Reserve Training Facility. From Beatrice, Doug Kennedy, News Channel, Nebraska.
Nebraska is among 10 states joining a federal lawsuit against Ticketmaster. State Attorney General Mike Hilger's office made the announcement on Monday. The U.S. Department of Justice lawsuit accuses Live Nation Ticketmaster of monopolizing markets across the live concert industry. They argue that harms fans, innovation, artists, and venues. Ticketmaster is the largest concert ticketing company in the U.S., multiple times the size of its closest competitor. The lawsuit was filed back in May. 30 states signed on initially. Besides Nebraska, Iowa and Kansas were among the states that joined the lawsuit on Monday. One of the most genetically pure bison herds in the nation lives right here in Nebraska. Casey Wannenberg takes us to the Fort Niobrara National Wildlife Refuge near Valentine, where history and conservation meet.
And I'll lock this one up.
It's not every day you get an inside look at a herd of bison like this.
You can smell the smell of the rut in here.
But today, Wildlife Refuge Manager Matt Springer is giving us a personal tour.
It's last year's calf.
At Fort Niobrara National Wildlife Refuge, just outside of Valentine.
You can recognize some of them if they've got a horn tilted one way or another, like that bull right there.
This refuge is home to around 400 bison. Formed in 1913, it's one of the oldest herds in the country.
This was one of those 6 federal herds that was established really to restore the species. I mean, bison at the end of the 1800s were on the brink of extinction, and this was one of those 6 herds that was reestablished to populate all the bison in North America. Little rub spots.
Also unique about this herd, they're among the most genetically pure bison around, with very little mixing of cattle genes. A big deal when it comes to conservation.
Particularly when a lot of these herds were brought into captivity, there was crosses between bison and cattle, and our bison here have a low, what we call introgression rate with cattle. So there's very few cattle genes in our bison, and that's probably the thing that makes it most unique. A lot of the bison herds that are part of the private sector, they'll have more cattle genes within that herd.
While you may not get a personal tour like I got, you can come out to the refuge at any time to take a look at the herd. Sometimes they're easier to spot than other times. And a warning, of course, don't get too close.
Drive through the refuge and see the bison. They may see some animals that look really skinny. It's not because they're short on forage.
Instead, Springer says it's because everything here is left to nature. Birthing, aging, and dying. Crews don't kill aging animals or vaccinate new babies.
Conserve that genetic diversity of the original plains bison, and that's why this herd is really that important.
A glimpse of America's past, thriving in America's heartland. Near Valentine, Casey Winnenberg, News Channel, Nebraska.
A group of 10 boys and 2 counselors are embarking on a 1,000-mile raft journey down the Missouri River. They started in Yankton, South Dakota. They ended in Illinois. Dan Swanson caught up with him in southeast Nebraska.
A group from the Bald Eagle Boys Camp is journeying down the Missouri River on a raft designed and constructed at their base in Mill Hall, Pennsylvania, and with a reliance on each other. Bradley Wagner is among 10 boys on the camp's furthest journey west and said it's all unexplored territory for them. The raft design benefits from what the camp learned from trips on the Ohio and Mississippi rivers over the past 20 years.
So we first built it back at camp, and then once we liked it, we decided to test it out on a river. So we reconstructed just a platform, and once we liked it, we shipped it out here up at Gavin's Point Dam, and then we reconstructed it.
The crew cooks breakfast each morning on the Eagle's Nest, which is similar in size to the keelboat taken by Lewis and Clark. Each evening, they set up 12 personal tents on shore. Their days are filled with gathering supplies, woodcraft, guitar lessons, and especially looking out for river obstructions. Nate Kaufman, who is one of 2 counselors the boys call camp chiefs, credits God and the wilderness camping model for the change in the boys after a stay of 18 months to 2 years.
A lot of it comes from just problem solving as a group. Coming down the river, we face obstacles like running up on a sandbar. We need to work together to get this raft off the sandbar. Everybody working together to help each other out.
Cruz said the camp has helped him.
It's really helps. Before I came here, I had really bad anger issues, and I just could not control myself. Now I'm actually getting way better with that and stuff. So.
The boys departed Nebraska City Friday with a 6-week journey ahead before their final stop at Cairo, Illinois. From Nebraska City, I'm Dan Swanson, News Channel, Nebraska.
A school in the Panhandle's getting a chunk of cash to support diesel students. Western Nebraska Community College announced Monday that it's received $10,000 from Nebraska Machinery Company to provide scholarships for students in the school's diesel, truck, and heavy equipment department. The scholarship will be awarded to help with tuition, fees, or to purchase tools required for the program. The school says priority will be given to full-time students. And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. You're watching News Channel Nebraska.